Hi, it's Kim from Expressions of the Universe with another Ask Me Anything Q&A. And viewer Lisa Kaminsky asked, I'm going to pull up her question. I have intercepted Sagittarius/Gemini in my chart in the 2nd and 8th houses. I have a really difficult time using my voice. Tons of thoughts in my head, but I struggle to share them. I remain in situations long past their prime, even though I have lots to say about those situations. I just end up keeping it to myself. What can I do to change this? How can I better find my voice? I've read that the 8th house is where your personal power lies. If I am able to find my voice, is that helping to balance the interception? And are the interceptions evidence of past life difficulties that need resolving? Sorry, that was lots of questions. And that's perfect, Lisa, perfect. This was such a good question because I don't really deal with interceptions that often because of the house system that I use. So typically, I use an equal house system when I'm reading an astrology chart, and that divides the 12 pie pieces into equal sections of 30 degrees each. Now, in order to see if there's an interception, you have to use a different house system, the most common being Placidus. And I don't like that because it knocks the pie pieces into different shapes. I'm going to show you a visual so that you can see it. When I'm doing a basic chart reading, which for the most part, that's what I'm doing, I just use the equal house system. That could be, slightly off. There are so many different schools of thoughts as to which house system is the best to use, and I really think it depends on the astrologer. I will look at a Placidus house system when I'm analyzing someone's chart, and then I match it up with the equal, and I make sure that if anything is unbalanced, like in a different house or whatever, I will bring that into my chart reading. But getting back to your question of interceptions, so for the sake of answering this question, I want to just review a little bit of what an interception is. So if we're looking at the Placidus house system, the astrological wheel, which you'll see behind me, it's divided up into 12 pie pieces. In the equal house system, like I said, they're divided into 12 equal pie slices of 30 degrees each. So if you've seen my post, I'll say, oh, like today it's 8 degrees Virgo. So each sign will run from 0 to 29. That's 30 degrees. Now, when you're using Placidus or other house systems, there's about 50 other house systems that can be used. There could be more than 30 degrees in one house, which would then cover 2 signs in one house. What an interception is when you have one house and all 30 degrees are in that house using the Placidus system. So it's as if they're trapped, and also whatever is directly across from that house. So in Lisa's case, it's her 2nd house and her 8th house. Sagittarius and Gemini, they're polar opposites. So whatever's in one intercepted house, it's going to be in the same directly across from that. I do give you a visual, and I go around the chart to show you exactly what's going on in her chart. But just to also give you some information, intercepted signs show difficulty expressing that sign in that energy, interceptions, and also in that house. Interceptions always occur opposite of each other. The energy is trapped and bottled up. One must overcome the shadow side of these traps. The houses represent the past and the present. So that was part of Lisa's question. Is this past life stuff? It's karma. And you think, okay, well, I was born with this in there, so how could that be present? Because you are bringing it from a past life, but you have to deal with it here in the present. What I've learned about interceptions is this karma must be dealt with in this life, and it will be no matter what. The interception shows where you have imbalances in your life, but I think you already know it has to do with your voice. And thank you, puppies. Do not feel like a failure or feel guilty in these places where you might see an interception. They typically cause frustrations because when we become aware of what our weaknesses or our faults are, we become very frustrated because we don't know how to escape that, when in fact, this is the area that you're developing the most. So let's take a look at Lisa's chart, and I'll explain what I picked up, and then I think I might pull a card at the end of this question so we could see what could help her with that. Now, I'm looking over here on my side, and I pulled Chrysocolla for this week's crystal for my weekly wisdom as I'm recording this. This is a great throat chakra stone. It's also a heart chakra stone. So this would be wonderful. You will have to balance the throat chakra so that you can speak your truth. And I thought that I had some blue lace agate here, because I would recommend that as well, but I don't seem to have it as I'm recording this. But anyway, let's pause this. I'm going to show you what Lisa's chart looks like. Taking a look at the viewer's chart, we're looking for any house that has all 30 degrees locked within that house. So you'll see in Capricorn, not all 30 degrees are locked in to one particular house. But here, the second and the 8th house are locked in to that second house, or the 8th house, all 30 degrees of that sign. You'll see here with the first house, some of that Scorpio is coming into the second house right here. Over here, the 12th house, Libra, it's split between Libra and Virgo. Now, the reason why I don't usually focus on this is because I use an equal house system, and in order to find the interceptions in someone's chart, you have to use the Placidus system, because it's not dividing the houses equally. It's dividing it the way it's supposed to be divided. I typically use the equal house system, which will equally divide each house into 30-degree sections. It makes it easier to read a basic chart or to do a basic reading. There are different house selections, different schools of thought on which house is the correct one, but for this purpose of interceptions, you have to use Placidus. You can go to astro.com, plug in your birth data, and pull up your own chart for free and take a look at this. So if you want to follow along, the second house and the 8th house, Sagittarius, and its opposite of Gemini, are intercepted. So for this viewer's question, This is showing me, well, the second house is about money and values and possessions. And the eighth house is usually about the occult, death, inheritances, taxes, transformations, birth, rebirth, death, birth, rebirth. Gemini being of communications and mental agility, and Sagittarius is about learning, beliefs, religion, freedom, travel, exploration. So what I was picking up when I did this reading, you can see that Neptune, the Sun, Mercury, and your part of fortune are trapped in this second house. The only thing that is opposite is the vertex, which is typically the opposite or direct line from your ascendant. Going with your question about wanting to write and communicate better, there's nothing in this house. The house is empty. And down here you have a stellium trapped into this second house. So this would indicate to me there's self-worth issues, the inability to express darker topics, possibly. Maybe there's a fear, because with Sagittarius being about beliefs and also religion, opposite this eighth house of the occult and darker topics, there's almost a fear of discussing those issues. Also, too, you have to remember this is past life, this is karma. This will play out. You will eventually somehow be able to express that. But I think that there's a fear. You're not sure of how the people around you would take this. Your entire essence was denied in a prior life. Praise. You were never allowed compliments, or you never received compliments. When you loved yourself, others said you were selfish. The sun also represents issues with the father in this aspect. You don't believe in yourself or are afraid. Maybe you were told you were stupid. You may have been lied to by those close to you growing up, so you weren't given the truth, or people felt jealous of you. That's like 8th house Scorpio energy, because Scorpio does rule the 8th house. Typically, Taurus rules the 2nd house. Neptune here is indicating that your dreams, your wild thoughts and dreams were ridiculed, or you weren't allowed to dream. So these are past life issues that are coming up and holding you back. Remember, these are areas of your life that are trapped and bottled up and having the inability to express them freely. That is what is represented by those intercepted sections. So I hope you liked that little ditty. I pulled some cards while I was allowing you to watch that video. And I'm using the John Holland Psychic Tarot deck because I consider that my healing deck. And you're obviously wanting to heal this aspect. Well, this is funny. So the first card that comes up is awareness. This is traditionally the magician in a traditional tarot deck. And this is saying that you already have all of the tools necessary to speak your truth, to open your voice. And I'm like, no, that is not what she wants to hear. But the universe, my guides, are saying she's got to figure it out. You've got to figure the situation out, because you already have everything that you need. And I think you asking this question is a great first step in overcoming, those fears and gaining the courage to speak your voice. Of course, you have to realize when it is appropriate, what is appropriate to say, or the appropriate way to say things. Now, the next card that I chose that came up, it says Firm Foundation, but it's reversed, and it is a red bordered card. This automatically talks to me about root chakra. So your fears are lying in the root chakra. You may want to work on that. Where are my crystals? By the way, I do have the blue lace agate. This is a great throat chakra stone. If you saw the carnelian from last week, or I do have this bloodstone with the hematite. Let's see, can you see? Can't see the red in it, but it's red and hematite, red jasper and hematite mixed. Those are great stones for your root chakra. Also, petrified wood, because when we are living in fear, false evidence appearing real, our safety, our security, our bravery, our courage is being threatened. So there's something within you that you're fearing that if you speak your voice, you will lose safety, security, your group of people. But I really think, like you're asking this question, you need to speak your voice. And then a third card that I pulled for this, the light comes up. And so this immediately, I was thinking it when I pulled this card. You have to ask your angels and your guides to help you have that courage. Call on them, ask them, thank them in advance for their help. But that's what I would do. Anyway, I would be using crystals. I would be asking my guides, asking the angels for the courage. I know one of the biggest issues when you're speaking your voice, when you have to say something that may be difficult for other people to hear, we make up all these stories in our mind as to how we think that conversation's going to go, how the people are going to react, and that's what keeps us trapped from saying the truth. But right now, especially with this Virgo energy, virtue and integrity, it is a must. And everything this week, especially, is about speaking your truth. You'll see when I post this chrysocolla, because this is the stone of truth. It's blue, green, and black. I love this. So I hope that helps you. I hope you're able to open up your throat chakra and express yourself. Also, expression comes from the sacral chakra. And so I have this tangerine aura stone that's been sitting there. I would also use some orange stones. Hey, while you're at it, why not just do all of your chakras and get them moving and grooving, and that will help you to express yourself. So thank you for your question. Bye.